So when I saw Hello Games' first project, No Man's Sky, at E3 last year, I saw something that had the potential to be something truly groundbreaking and spectacular. A video game is, like any other form of media, the sum of the parts. In this aspect, No Man's Sky just doesn't quite live up to the hype, yet it does deliver quite the interesting game. The game opens with a slow crawl that goes directly towards the screen where you see the different names of other planets and people that have been discovered as you go towards your starting destination. Once you get there, you are treated with oh, by the way, that loading, first time I booted it up, took me about 5 minutes to get all the way through it before I even got a chance to move my character around. After that, you are greeted with another loading screen, a pure white one that is actually quite distracting and hurts the eyes after a while. That only took me about a minute or two to get through, and it was still really annoying. It was about 5-10 minutes before I actually got into the game and got control of my character, which was a little bit ridiculous. But after the first time, it did start to load up faster, and I didn't have to worry as much. It was just that first boot up that took ages for it to actually work. Performance and gameplay aside, the first question that I have to ask myself is, who the hell am I? Why am I on this random planet in the middle of the universe by myself with this damaged ship? I don't understand how, as a game company, you decide that you're not going to put a story in. You had the potential within this game to tell one of the most amazing stories that you possibly could. It would have been awesome. Why am I going to the center of the universe? What reason is there? There is story. I won't say that there isn't story, but you have to look for it. You have to go around. You have to read artifacts, and it's just, I want the story to be more pronounced. I want it to be there. I don't want it to be hidden away that I have to go look for it. Sure, that's awesome. Leave that stuff there for the people that want to be collectionists. But give me a reason to care. Give me a reason to continue through the game. Give me a reason on why I want to get to the center of the universe. It makes no sense. It does have things like different alien races and whatever else, and different ships, and it does have a very nice aesthetic. I like it. But again, it just feels bare. It feels like there's no story, there's no driving force within the game. I get the concept of being alone in the universe and exploring. I do. I understand that. It's a very cool concept. The issue that I have with it is, if the potential is there to tell a story, why wouldn't you? It just baffles me, like absolutely baffles me that they didn't do it, just because of the simple fact of, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you give your players a story? Why wouldn't you give them a driving force to continue through the game? That completely baffles me, and I don't understand that aspect of it. While No Man's Sky's biggest strength is definitely its exploration, there are some weird design decisions that hinder and almost punish the player for exploring. It doesn't make sense. First of all is the inventory space. At the beginning of the game, you have very, very, very limited inventory space. I get it, you're starting out, you need to upgrade it and whatever else. But there are so many times where you're just chucking out resources that you simply don't need. And it's not that you don't need them, it's you can't carry them. They just didn't give you enough at the beginning that it makes it extremely tedious and hard to collect the different things that you need. Another issue I had was with my spawn world. Being that I spawned on a planet that had very, very little resources, it took me quite a while to get my ship repaired and for me to even get off the ground. It took me a few hours, which was, by the end of it, I was starting to get really frustrated and didn't even want to play the game. You can't really have that happening when you want to get your audience to play. The one thing that almost completely kills the resource gathering of this game is these things called the Sentinels. For one, why are they on every planet in the universe? There's another question that you could answer with a story. It doesn't make sense that they're there. And two, why do they attack you when you're harvesting the minerals? It makes no sense. You're literally punishing your player for taking resources, which is literally 90% of your game. That makes no sense to me. You're punishing your players by it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't help also that the gunplay, the ground combat is pretty bad. It just doesn't feel good at all. Not to mention, they don't even tell you how to switch to your weapon. Push X, by the way. It makes total sense. The ship combat is actually very well done, and I did enjoy it. So, it was very easy to get overwhelmed, and you can get taken out pretty quick. That was really the only time I ever died in the game, was when I was flying around my ship. I would just get taken out by 4 or 5 space pirates. It was pretty cool. That was definitely my favorite part of the game. Alright, now we're going to get to the part that everybody knows about. The performance. It's bad. It was absolutely terrible. I couldn't even load the game up for the first hour. Couldn't figure out what was going on. I had to go into my Steam files, and I actually had to go into the file and change it from true to false on full screen before I could even get the game to open. Not to mention, when I opened, I was greeted with about 8 frames a second at medium settings. So what do? Turn it down, turn the resolution down, turn my graphics down, whatever. Go out. I'm greeted with a restart your system. Okay, fine. I changed a bunch of options. Took it off. Reloaded the game up. Had to deal with all the loading, do it all over again. Once I get to the planet, 12 frames a second. Awesome. I got 4 extra frames. Go into my settings. Change 1 or 2 things. Go to the menu. Restart the game again. Every single time that you want to make a graphics change on your computer, you have to restart the whole game. Lots of games do get restarts when you change certain things, but I've never seen a game that, even if you change the frame rate, makes you restart your whole program. I've never seen a game like that, ever. I don't get that. The performance issues get really, really bad when you're on the planets and you're flying low over top of the surface of the planet. Constantly. There are times where you drop down to 4 frames a second, which literally makes it completely impossible to play the game. You just can't play it. It doesn't run. It's impossible. One thing that truly makes you notice all this is the pop-in. It is horrible in this game. It's so distracting that it's not even funny when you just see things popping in constantly. It was, by the end of it, it was so distracting that it was bugging me, and I don't understand how it's that bad. Like, it pops in like that. And when you're flying down onto the surface of a planet, when you see the surface, it looks like an unloaded Google Maps. They will constantly reappear and disappear and have blocky pixels all over the place, and it looks ugly. It looks ugly. It just doesn't gel. Well, I will say I was lucky enough to play it after the patch came out, so performance issues are mostly fixed. I can get a solid 30 frames a second. It's fairly fixed now. I enjoy it. It's good. Sound and graphics, they're pretty much what you'd expect. They're nothing spectacular. They're not ugly, but they're not great. They're just there. On high settings, the game does look fairly good. I mean, I can't knock it. It's not an ugly game. It sounds good. So when I first saw No Man's Sky, I wanted to love it. I absolutely wanted to love it. But as the hype kept building up and building up and building up, my expectations started to drop. Then I found out there was no multiplayer. My expectations dropped them again. Then they started showing off the Sentinels, and they started showing off more and more and more and more gameplay. My hype just kept dropping and dropping and dropping. And I knew that the game, while it would be interesting and the systems would be in place, there wouldn't be enough content, and it wouldn't be what it needed to be. That being said, a year from now, when some content updates come out and various other things, I think the game will get much better. It'll be one of those games that, as the patches keep coming out, the game will continually to get better and better and better and better and better. A year from now, probably going to be an 8 out of 10. But for right now, I'm going to have to give it a 6 out of 10. Good game. Like it. You buy it. You'll enjoy it. It just depends how much mileage you're going to get out of it. If you're one of those people that absolutely love to explore and just enjoy doing that for hours and hours at a time, you'll love this game. But if you're more like me and you want a reason to play, if you want a story, if you want tight gameplay mechanics that doesn't feel like every other game that you've ever played, this might not be for you. You might want to skip it for now. Keep it on your radar though, because it might get better once the content updates. Who knows? They might add a story. If they add a story, boom, you get an extra point just for that. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day, and I will see you all in the next episode. Later.